All right, so this is day 0 of working on the bedroom section, aka the kids' room of the pancake flipper. This trick is just going to be a bow and arrow that shoots this plunger arrow at a piece of plexiglass that's going to tip over either this way or this way. I don't know which way yet. Very, very similar to the setup I had in mini basketball trick shots. And once again, this bow and arrow for an object is originally from Pool Party Machine. Steve let me keep it after Pool Party Machine. And the way I'm actually planning to release it this time, I'm actually just planning to use a clothespin. Big clothespin. I got these big clothespins from a book opener, and I think that this project is like the perfect opportunity to actually start using these big clothespins. All right, so the bedroom machine is now fully done. I have it set up for you all right now. It looks kind of crazy, all set up at once. Hello. It's circling around the entire room. It took me a little over a month to make. I'll put the time span on the screen right there. I didn't expect it to take me that long. The previous section took a little over a week, so I wasn't expecting this one to take this amount of time. But it makes sense because this is the section with the most amount of small scale tricks as well as intricate tricks. So the trick I started off with was the clock trick over here. I had the inspiration to actually have the clock rolling along a back wall, but I quickly realized when I started messing around with the clock, it has a really weird weight to it. It's very unevenly distributed. The back side is like 300 pounds, but it ended up being a good thing because I ended up thinking of a different idea where I utilize the uneven weight distribution to my advantage, have it on a rotating disc so that the heavier side can actually act as the power source to lift a ball around, and then it was just a matter of doing some complicated latch systems. Now when it comes to the roller coaster is a really fun, like really aesthetic thing. It was kind of weird, like it was one of the last things I built. I knew I needed a trick to fill the space. These pieces don't normally exist, at least in my videos. I've never had these pieces before. I actually bought these pieces specifically for this trick. I have this weird stubborn thing about me and my machine building style where like all of a sudden it'll click, the like stars will align, I'll think of the perfect thing to go in that space and realize, crap, I don't have the one thing I need to actually make that. So I went and bought available curves online on a Connects replacement store. I just love how smooth it is. It's super smooth, super consistent. And I was shocked, especially, that it works with the height difference. There was some wonkiness with this track, but I ended up using soap to make it more slippery, which is the one out of, I think, 4 or 5 times that I used soap in this one bedroom machine. Moving on to the Pokeball, this is just a really fun novelty trick where I have Porygon bunched up into the little Pokeball there, and he falls out and hits the Perplexus. This was really difficult to make. I think especially just like securing the hinges. There's a back half hinge as well as the top is just secured to a plank. A lot of the issues in this video in general are just figuring out a way to actually secure foreign objects into place that don't want to be secured. But it ended up turning out really great. I really like the sort of Connects hinge on this. It uses like a gray piece, so the back half is like latched into it. So right now, even if I push it a little bit, it's not going to go. But with the weight of Porygon, it'll be enough to tip it over. So it's a really good reset there. This Perplexus Epic I've had for like 500 years, and I've never thought to use it in a machine, but I thought it would be a good sort of foreign object transition into a different section. And then we get into the shelf section. So this is probably the most tricky section to build overall for a number of reasons. One of them being the shelves are curved. They're not level at all. None of the levels are level, especially the top has like a very deep indented curve. So I had to make up for that by doing some weird support systems and whatnot. But I do like the tricks I came up with here. Decided to go for a simple card falling trick, connecting to Club Penguin from ISM, the Jolly Penguin on the elevator here. I knew I wanted to do some type of marble track with like nostalgic items, so I sort of paired up some Pokemon movies with some mousetrap pieces, with some classic tracks, and I think it looks really good, has a good aesthetic to it, and then just sort of put a mini DS trick in the corner here, which is another cute sort of simple trick. It took me way too long to make it for how quick it is and how, you know, irrelevant it is, but I do like that. I do like how it fits into this section because it's video games and Pokemon and all that. This train trick, very inconsistent, very wonky, very weird. I have this Brio train. One of the weirdest issues was that it keeps getting stuck on the edge of like this track right here. A lot of the fails involved that happening. And so a solution that I tried was actually soap. I used soap on the back of this and on the end of the track, and it actually did help a little bit. So that's the second time soap has come in handy in this one machine. It's a very simple idea, just having the train initially go slowly around the Lazy Susan and then power the Lazy Susan to start rotating. It's really clever. I do a really mini jointed lever right here that auto activates the Bakugan, and then also Bakugan ball path. So like what I could have done here is just do a regular ball path, but I thought just like, it's a foreign object machine. I'm supposed to use foreign objects, and a Bakugan is like the perfect small scale object to use in a one ball path. I've never made a Bakugan one ball path before, and so the end of it requires the Bakugan to actually snap up into its full form. This is not a usual Domino Rally staircase. I actually sawed a couple Domino Rally staircases to make these fit together properly. So you can see, it's not the usual length. Oh, that ping pong ball is going to. Oh, and I guess I can describe this right now, because you can probably see this launcher. It's supposed to connect to this funnel over here, and yeah, there's a shirt in the way. It's one of the magical things about screen links is that you can fake things. Here's another thing I used soap on. This Domino Rally connection, which I thought was a really cute sort of addition. I initially wanted to do a trick with a fan on this surface, but it didn't end up working out very well because I couldn't think of a great, like, I feel like a fan needs to have something in front of it to actually blow air at. And this entire space would have been taken up by the fan. So I decided to do a little Domino Rally connection in general. I wanted to use a Domino Rally elevator at some point in this machine. I initially planned for it to go over there, had to scrap it, but then eventually I used it again anyway. Also, world's smallest pivot track, the Magikarp. So the Magikarp is like really funny and has a lot of novelty to it. It was one of the like tricks that actually inspired the video in general. I've had these Magikarps for a long time now, and just the idea of having a flopping fish go down a track is really funny to me, and so I put it on a claw. This claw was also really hard to make. I don't know, like, it's just the thing with foreign objects, you think they're gonna be simple because the idea of just having fish go down track is simple. Also, this is a custom made track too. That took forever to make, and then I had to make a custom dropper that would fit the size of the Magikarp that could release from a domino. Oh, Zipline is also really cool. It uses, this is like a Pokemon shirt that I have that I thought would be a nice aesthetic to go on a shirt, Zipline. It was surprisingly difficult to make. I initially did one pulley loop, securing it, and it just didn't work consistently nearly enough. So I did a double jointed system, also secured it thoroughly. Like, the tension is with these hammers and wrenches causes the tension. The zip line was sort of inspired by just looking around my room and seeing where I could make different connection points to connect things together. Like, I knew there was the space beside my bed right here. That's where Magikarp ended up going. There was the shelf right over here. There was the desk. And then there was two string connection points I noticed. There's little divots off the mirror as well as on the top of the blinds, and so I was like, a zip line could go down there, and it ended up being a really good connection to get over to this section over here. And so then we have this trick, the spirally complex trick, probably one of the most, if not the most complex trick in the video. It's a simple premise. Ball goes in, thing spins, thing falls down into place, creates a ball. Actually, no, it's complicated. So this was an idea that Gabe came up with. I was asking Gabe if there was an idea that he had that could involve my spiral rod, and he suggested basically do the same trick as Lyle did in Reactica 2022. I'll play the trick right here, but do it with the spiral rod instead of a 3D pendulum. It was really difficult. The weight of the Kinect ball is pretty heavy, so balancing this out was really, really difficult. I used a 90-degree ruler / like T-square type thing to actually secure the end of it to make sure the top could be secure. There's like a janky wooden rod connection to make sure this string can push this magnet out of the way to unlatch it, as well as this lever down here. Pretty complicated stuff. The most complicated part actually wasn't any of that. It was sort of the double system here of, most importantly, finding a way to slow this thing down as it exits, which I ended up coming up with a little system where it's basically a double domino shifter type thing. I say that as if that's a thing that exists. Well, it does here, but in general, it's not a common, I've never built one of these before. Basically, it runs into this domino too. It transfers the energy as it pushes this rod to this domino initially, and then it'll eventually, the pusher will hit this domino as well. It was a lot more difficult to build than what I thought it was going to be. The initial base for the trick took 7 hours to make, and then I kept having to add new improvements and new things, like install a track up here. Like, this whole thing had to change. this ball stopper had to change like 3 times. The actual end of it had to change multiple times. There was a lot of stuff that changed. With this starburst trick right here, this is probably one of my favorite tricks in the actual machine overall. It's just very smooth and very satisfying. Feels very similar to something that Gabe would make in his videos. It's just a satisfying billiard ball sorting trick. It utilizes this Simon game, which is a very real, it's a game. Like, I could turn it on right now. It works, except for the green button, which does not work. That green button has not worked since I was actually a child. Oh shoot, I accidentally knocked a ball off. But anyway, the way it works is pretty self-explanatory. All of the balls are on little pegs, and the thing is already has an off-table weight, so it wants to spin, but the balls are keeping it in place with the friction being on the pegs. And so as soon as the connects ball shifts them out of place, they all start rotating. And you'd think it would be an issue to have one off-table weight due to the weight distribution of the billiard balls, because when you decrease the amount of billiard balls in the circle, you're having a lot less weight to deal with rapidly. Eventually you're going to get to 5 times less the amount of weight of 5 of them in general. But the way it actually works is because when they shift initially, there's a boost the billiard balls get from just going off the pegs in general, and so they're able to just kind of naturally go the direction they want to go, which makes the weight sort of irrelevant. It means I can have a relatively small off-table weight, and the billiard balls will sort of carry their own momentum. Over here I have a sock monkey that I had as a kid. It swings it swings down. That was like an idea I had for this off-table connection. The convenient thing about this is I can still open and use this this drawer. It's not a drawer. This is a, what is it called? It's a door. It's a closet door. The convenient thing about this is I can still open and close the closet door if I need to get stuff out of the closet, because I do sleep in this room. The actual connection on the floor is very janky. I just set up a domino and it hits a target, and that was it. And then these hand things are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I basically copy and pasted the mechanism that I made for the Avis budget project in Orlando, and that seemed to work pretty well. I just made an alternate little thing on the end to keep them in place and to keep it looking professional, but it really ended up working out pretty well. I didn't realize, like, I kind of just made them, and then I was like, well, I hope it's long enough to reach the end where I'm gonna have the cylinder release, and it turned out that, like, you could really adjust them to make them go pretty much any length. They're pretty long. Oh, and also the Easter egg for this is there's a Pop Leo on the bed. I mean, there's a few Easter eggs. There's also Gumby and Pokey and the ISM game on. So, but anyway, that's it.